I went to university to get educated, not to get a degree. There's repeatable frameworks for every sale on earth. These formulas you can either learn now or learn in 10 years. If those two players are involved, I would rather take that bet than someone else's bet. My first years of school, I got right into entrepreneurship. I was like ready to go. My mindset was, and still is, when you are young, you actually have a disproportionate amount of asymmetrical risk. Asymmetrical risk is a finance term, meaning most of us hear high risk, high reward, right? You've heard that before. Low risk, low reward. Asymmetrical risk is when you have relatively low risk for high reward. And if you can find that in investing, or sometimes you call that alpha, that's usually a good bet to take when there's things that have relatively low risk but big upside. And so, for example, I'll get a quick example on how this would work and how you would find asymmetrical risk. So if me and you were going to start a business together, there's a certain level of maybe risk and reward on that business, right? But let's say we brought in Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk to be our business partners. What would you say? Does the reward level go up or down or neutral? I would say it probably goes up. The chance of reward probably goes higher if Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are getting involved. And so what about the risk level? Do you think it's more risky or less risky? You might say Elon's a volatile character, but generally I would say it's less risky, right? If those two players are involved, I would rather take that bet than someone else's bet. So I'm going to de-risk a little bit, and we have a higher reward, which creates asymmetrical risk. So just by adding a business partner, sometimes you can create asymmetrical risk in a category or a business you're launching. So the idea when I got into college, I had a great mentor tell me this, because most people, and myself included, I knew I wanted to run a business. They said, well, you should run a business, when you're 35, 40, 50 years old. Once you do your career first, work up the corporate ladder, learn all you need to learn, and then when you're ready, go start a business, which is what most people tell you. And this mentor that I talked to was multi-millionaire, super successful. He looks at me and goes, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And he goes, that's fine. And I'm good with across the board, but if you know you want to launch a business anyways. He goes, when you're 22 years old and you risk it all and lose it all, how much are you going to lose, Bridger? I'm like $5,000. That's all I got in my bank account, like $5,000. He's like, okay, so you can lose $5,000, but what happens if it is successful? It goes well. Well, I could do well. I could launch this business, be super successful. He then said, when you're 35 or 40, you got kids, a family, a mortgage, you got car payments, a house, your level of risk is much higher. When you're 22 years old, your risk level is way lower. And by default, your reward is sometimes typically the same. You might as well take chances when you're young because the risk is so de-risked. There isn't that much to lose. When you're in college, you live on $300 a month and you can always restart. Like it's not that hard. You can just go get a job at McDonald's and cover your base costs and you're good. Like it's not that big of a deal. You don't have kids depending on you and grandkids and a mortgage and a spouse. Like all those things are gone away. And I remember that really stuck with me. Like, okay, this is actually the time to get into business. My approach to college was I am in college to make money. And I know that's counter to what a lot of people will tell you. But if I'm going to pay every year to go to school and maybe incur student debt, this needs to have some kind of positive ROI to my life. Now, for some kids, I know the positive ROI is just, I want to go party and have fun. Okay, well, if you're going to pay $50,000 a year to just party and have fun, you can go to Vegas for $50,000 or $1,000 a week and just party and have fun if that's your goal. My goal, if I'm going to pay for college, spend valuable time there, I need to make sure it has a strong ROI. Now, other people say, well, go after your passions. You should follow your passions, which I agree. You should like what you're doing. And generally, you like what you're good at. Most of us, we generally like what we're good at. There's tons of studies that have been done on this. And I won't dive into them, but we generally like what we're good at. And so I thought, how can I get good at making money? I know my passions in my life. I love skiing. I love wakeboarding. I love all these, sports. And I thought, well, I don't know if I just went after skiing as my passion. I was going to go try to become the best skier in the world. I don't know if that'll be very fruitful over a lifetime. But if I go after a business, or let's just not call it a business, a career path, a path in life that makes me lots of money in a shorter period of time, I can then go ski as much as I want. And maybe you talk to a lot of people that are artists or things, a lot of times they say it once was their passion, but once it becomes their full-time job, everything becomes a job. And so I thought, well, if it's going to become a job anyways, I might as well get a job that's very high paying, that does extremely well, so that I can go spend time on my passions, and my passions are probably going to change throughout my life. So I approached college with a very return on investment mindset. How do I get the most bang out of my buck for college? So for example, my first year of college, most kids take their generals. They take, a writing class, an English class, a civilization class. I did none of that. I took a finance class, an econ class, a real estate class, an SEO class, an online marketing class, all from the business school. It taught me an incredible amount of things. It was like the best education possible. And I remember sitting down with my career advisor at my university, and they were like, Bridger, what are you doing? Like, you got to do your generals. You got to go take your physics class. And I'm like, I'm learning so much. This is so fun. Like, I feel like I'm doing so many things. And they said, well, no, you're not learning in the right way. And I said, well, yes, isn't this the purpose of university? Like, I took this real estate class. I just wholesaled 2 houses. I made $10,000. That was cool. I learned that from like last semester. I'm launching an SEO company right now. We're doing all this online marketing. We've already made, I think at that time we'd made like $9,000. I'm already like, from the class, I made an ROI. It was amazing. My second year, I took deeper finance classes, coding classes, all these incredible classes that was giving me such a wealth of knowledge. And so I went to university to get educated, not to get a degree. And I was so grateful that somebody had taught me that mentality to like go and get educated. And I believe the fastest ramp for education ever is entrepreneurship, actually applying the things in real life. And so back to the thing, I started 6 different businesses my first 2 years of college. I did a Chinese tutoring business. I had 7 different tutors underneath me. I did the wholesaling company. We wholesaled 2 properties, made $10,000. Me and Mason started an online marketing company. We were doing ads and funnels. We had all these different clients that we were building out their ad campaigns for and launching them all in college. And I remember I took this really hard accounting class. At BYU is notoriously like number 1, 2, or 3 for the last like 30 years in accounting. It's one of the best accounting schools on earth. So I was there in the accounting class, and this was a hard class. Everyone in the undergrad was like, oh, this one accounting class was super hard. And everyone was worried about it. They're stressed out, they're studying. So I was in the class, I was taking it. At the same time, I'm running my business. And I was like, oh, this is so great. I get to learn what a P&L is, or what a balance sheet is, or a statement of cash flows. And I was applying it in real life. I had my little QuickBooks open. I was applying what I was learning in this accounting class to real life. I went and took the final for this accounting, which everyone was nervous about, had a huge failure rate. I got 100 out of 100. I didn't miss a single question on the accounting final for this super hard class. And I don't do that to toot my own horn. I don't think I'm that smart of a person. I say that because it was easy to me. It was just natural because I was using the accounting class and plugging it in. I needed to know this stuff to plug into my business. So for me, launching businesses in college made me apply what I was learning, be intentional with what I was doing. And actually it was really fun to launch a number of businesses. I ended up launching my first fund in college. I launched our next company, Fund Launch, that's done over 25 million in sales out of college from the lessons I learned right there. Yes, money gives you tons of freedom. I think money also expands who you are. Money is one of the top reasons for divorce, suicide, unhappiness in this world is money. And I thought, man, if I can just figure out this game of money, because some people evidently have figured it out to the nth degree, right? They've done extremely well. Money just flows to them. It's just like, for some people, it's so easy to make money, and other people, it's so hard to make money. Like, why? If I can figure out the lessons of the people that made lots of money, why is it easy for them? And maybe I could learn some of those things. Life's still going to be hard, but maybe my marriage will be a little bit easier, and maybe I'll be a little bit less stressed out. And some of the biggest stresses in life are financial. And if I can solve that problem, maybe I can solve it for myself and maybe the people around me, cousins, in-laws, other people that I know, and I can help maybe them solve those same problems. And so that was kind of the mission that I was in my brain of my 20s, from ages 20 to 30 is going to be dedicated to figuring out the game of money. And maybe at 30 years old, hey, we're going to still keep doing this from 30 to 40 or 40 to 50. But if I can figure out this game of money earlier in life, I think it'll be a good lesson to learn. Something I tell my team all the time, these are eventually. You might as well learn them now. For example, I talk to like my sales team, and I tell them this all the time, like, hey, you can work here, you could quit, you could go somewhere else. But the fundamental lessons of selling, you're going to either have to dig in and learn them now, or you're going to have to learn them in 10 years if you want to be in this game. So you might as well just learn them now. The same methods of how to clarify, handle objections, reinforce a sale. Like there's repeatable frameworks for every sale on earth. These formulas you can either learn now or learn in 10 years. I would recommend learning them now so you don't have to wait 10 years and struggle through this. I think money, the game of money, is a similar mindset. You can learn the lessons of money now or later, but you've got to learn them eventually if you're going to try to live somewhat of a fruitful life.